Hi, this is Barry here, and you're very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today we're going to have a look at 9 golden rules for becoming a successful writer. Now, these are my 9 golden rules, so whether you want to keep them or not is totally up to you. But I think if you follow along this podcast episode, I think that it will really help you in whatever goal that you have at the moment, whether it's to be a better blogger, whether it's a better fiction writer, or whatever part of writing that you want to be. So let's kick it off at rule number 1. Writing success leaves clues. So no matter the subject, whether it's weight loss, whether it's writing, whatever it is, you're going to find that success leaves clues. You know, there's going to be things that successful writer is doing that you're not doing. And if you take on that actions that successful writer is doing, you know, you're going to get better results because of it. So have a look at the clues. What are the clues that you can take from that person you'd like to be? You know, and if you emulate and copy the actions that they're doing on a daily basis, your results are going to change because of it. Rule number 2, you get out what you put in. You know, like anything else in life, if I wanted to lose 20 pounds and I walked around the block every 2 weeks, there's no way I'm going to lose that weight. Why? Because I'm deluding myself and I'm not putting in much effort. You know, if you're not committed to becoming a better writer, if you're not committed to studying the craft, if you're not committed to finding the time every day to write, you know, be honest with yourself. You know, can you really expect to be successful with the actions you're doing now? 9 times out of 10, you probably yourself, yeah, I have been putting much effort in, you know, so how can I expect to improve because of it? You know, you get out what you put in. And then leading on from rule number 2, rule number 3, become a different person. You know, the results you're getting right now is because the person you are, from the action you're taking, from the daily routines that you have, you know, from the lies you've been telling yourself that you're not good enough or you're not this, you're not that, you know, from staying small, from not reaching out to those blogs and asking for a guest blog opportunity, for not stretching yourself, for not creating email lists, you know, for not, you know, creating that email list and then keeping in contact with those readers on a daily basis or a weekly basis or whatever. You know, whatever you're doing right now, if you're not happy with the results you're getting, it's because of the person that you are right now. So you need to become that successful writer. You need to, you know, picture what a successful writer would be doing right now. You know, what actions would they be taking? You know, would they be distracting themselves with social media or would they be concentrating on plotting that new book? You know, so become a different person, and from that different person, with those different actions, you're going to get different results. So rule number 4 is to write something you love. You know, you'll never be successful writing something that you don't enjoy. You know, even if the money's in it, for example, if you wanted to get into maybe the romance genre because all the money's in the romance genre, if you have no love for the romance genre, you know, it's going to show through your writing. You know, if you're not excited about your writing, your readers aren't going to be excited on the other side of reading it. You know, if you look at the Harry Potter books and how successful they were with J.K. Rowling's books, you know that those books were so successful because of the characters within it, for the love that she had with that characters of the world, and, you know, all of that was just so amazing that you just got swept away in it. Sometimes you probably even forgot that you were reading a book. It just seemed like there was just that movie was just playing in your head. And it was from the love that she put into that work. It translated across to you, the reader, and that's why those books were so successful. So if you're not happy with what you're writing at the moment, what your genre you're writing in, you know, get out of it. Even if the money is better in that genre, if you've no love for it, you know, try and find something that you do have love, because your reader's going to sense it on the other side. Writing success takes time. That's rule number 5. You know, if you're not patient and you want to be a successful writer after your first or second book, you know, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, it ain't going to happen. You know, the number of successful writers who retired after their first book are, you know, they're rarer than unicorns. You know, you're going to have to put in the time. You know, you've probably heard the rule of the 10,000 hours to improve your skill. You know, if you're not committed to putting in the time, you know, how can you expect your writing to get better? Maybe you should be doing something else instead, because, you know, it's this kind of everyday kind of graft and over and over and over and over again. And it's the things you're going to be doing, you know, in private that people are going to publicly kind of, you know, applaud you for. You know, it's like those boxers that put in the hours of sweating out in the gym day after day after day. And, you know, it's only for those few moments when they actually win the fight in the ring that everybody celebrates for. But, you know, like you, it's going to be this kind of long commitment you're going to have of locking yourself away on those sunny days when you'd rather be out doing something. You know, success, that writing success is going to it's going to take time. You're going to need to put in the hours. And if you're not committed to that, well then, you know, you really should look at doing something else. And rule number 6 is you're in charge of your life. Now, you might have this, maybe some people have this kind of lotto mentality where they just think they can just go through life and then, buying a lottery ticket is just going to pluck them from, obscurity and give them the lifestyle that they want. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for the majority of people. There are some people who will retire after writing one book and it's going to be amazing and they're going to have to, all these tours and talk shows and all that because of that book. That's not going to happen for everybody. So if you're pinning your hopes on that one book being your kind of retirement thing, I'm afraid to burst your bubble, but that ain't going to happen. You're going to have to write more and more. One book is good. 2 books are better. 10 books are even better. If you're waiting for that kind of publisher to, a Disney moment where they're just going to push all the writers aside and just pick you out and say you're the person he wants. If you're holding off at that moment, don't be, because that is rare, as I said, than unicorns. You're in charge of your life, so put in the work. Try and get out as many books as you can, and the more work you get out there, the more successful you're going to be, and the more lady luck is going to come knocking on your door because you're putting that in that effort. So don't think that, dismiss that Disney moment. Get it out of your head and put in the daily grind. And rule number 7 is to become a goal setter. You'd never see an archer or a darts player throwing darts or shooting arrows at a blank board, because how would they know if they're improving? And again, it's like you. Have you got any writing goals at the moment? Have you set up a goal maybe of doing a blog post every day? Have you set up a goal that you have to write 2,000 words of fiction every day? And why not then? How do you think you're going to improve? How you think maybe you can see your writing getting better, that you're writing faster? How can you see that blog that you want to build over time if you're not committed to writing a daily blog post? So you need to become a goal setter. You need to have these goals, and these goals are not just to kind of to make your life boring, but it's going to excite you that every day this goal, this action that you're taking is bringing you closer and closer and closer. These mini goals are bringing you closer to this huge goal that you have. So if you haven't got a goal, set one up today. It could be something small. It could be just something like doing a blog post every day. Something like maybe writing 1,000 or 2,000 words of fiction every day. But if you haven't got a goal in place, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to put everything aside and say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day, and I'll double up the next day, and I'll do the 4,000 words, or I'll write 3 or 4 blog posts at the weekend. In your hand and heart, that's never going to happen. So rule number 8 is do something every day toward that goal. Once you've got that goal set up, every day commit to it. Whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, if you're stuck for time, you know that you need to be working on your writing goal. Set aside that time, even if it's just to write the book blurb, but write the book description, or do a quick plot while you're sitting in the car waiting for the kids to come back from a soccer practice, or whatever it is. Every day do something towards your goal. And by doing that, you're telling your subconscious that this is something that you really want to happen. And if you put in that effort, it's going to give you, you're going to get better results from it. You're going to see that that amazing blog platform grow over time, that that your book catalog is going to grow. So do something every day towards your goal. It doesn't matter how small it is. Again, as I said in one of the earlier rules, if you're not committed, find the time. But again, do everything every day. Find something that will bring you towards that goal. And rule number 9, which I think is one of the most important ones, is to remember that a failure is not a failure. You may have wrote that book and maybe it just kind of vanished off Amazon. Nobody seemed interested in it. Maybe you got more bad book reviews maybe than you've never got before. And because of that, then you think that, well, I'm a failure, and, whereas a better way would be looking is to imagine maybe that you're a scientist and you're working in a lab, and you look at that as an experiment and you say, well, that experiment didn't work out. That doesn't make me a bad kind of scientist. But maybe if I look at what went wrong in that experiment, and when I do the next experiment and put in better actions, I'm going to get better results from it. If you probably look at how that book failed, you may find maybe you wrote in the wrong genre, maybe you didn't make it large enough, maybe your audience is looking for a larger book, maybe they're looking for a shorter book, maybe you didn't add all the kind of the things that those readers in that genre is looking for. Have a look at what went wrong. Have a look at the positives you can take from it and what you've learned from it. And don't take it, personally. For a lot of authors, they take a bad book review. I know I used to take a bad book review personally. I used to think it was a personal slight on me, rather than saying, no, it was a personal slight on the book. The book was wrong for that person, and it should stop at the book. It shouldn't come toward me. It's not a reflection of who I am as a person. I didn't get that book was a bad experiment, but that doesn't make me a bad scientist. So remember, a failure is not a failure. You may look at a bad thing, and I think we all hate failing because it stems back to school. It's like when you're asked a question in class and you give the wrong answer, and then it brings attention to yourself and you're embarrassed by others. But, it's not a failure. It's no indication of the writer that you're going to be in 6 months' time. You could be a poor writer by now. You could be maybe somebody who isn't getting many people to the blog, but you don't know what you're going to be in 2 weeks' time. You don't know what you're going to be in 6 months' time. You don't know what great idea, what great connections, what's in the future that's going to give you the results that you're looking for. And by giving up now, by having a look at this failure and saying, oh, well, that's it, I'm not good enough, and you just pack everything up, you're never going to learn, you're never going to grow. So keep sticking with it, and remember, a failure is not a failure. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope some of my rules maybe, opened your eyes up to maybe some of the actions that you're taking, and hopefully maybe it'll make you take on more actions, because as I said, by changing your actions, you're going to be changing your results, and maybe by taking better actions and being honest with yourself, you're going to get better results than you are right now. So if you enjoyed this podcast, I would really appreciate it if you would share it with one person, or if you would just send a tweet or a like on social media and tell people what you're listening to. That would be fantastic. And even better, if you could go over to iTunes and leave a quick review, it'd be really, really appreciated. So as always, thanks for sharing your time with me again today, and take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.